who basically can look at a deal and know whether it's a good deal or not. And once we looked under the hood of this restaurant, we realized that it was a gold mine. It was.
Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed, where we talk about everything related to entrepreneurship, always with a twist of business acquisitions. And today I don't even have to give a twist because that's what we're focusing on today. Our guest today, Tracey and Cheri. How do you pronounce it? I want to make sure I don't mess up your last name. Is it
Tracey and Cheri Syphax?
Tracey and Cheri Syphax. There we go. See, with my name being Bjorn, I can't butcher other people's names because most people probably. But welcome to the episode of welcome to the show. I'm looking forward to this discussion because I love you guys' story from what I know so far. All right, it's really impressive. I'm really proud, even though I just met you. I'm proud because it's amazing to see people doing the same thing that we talk about all the time on here. Now, before you introduce yourself, I'm going to pose the question to the entire audience, which I just gave to you guys. I told y'all about what I typically say to people. So this is the premise of today. If you never heard me say this before, then you're not listening to my show long enough, right? But here we go. If I could give you, everyone in the audience, if I could give you $5 million. Oh, no. Let's say this. Let's change that. Let's say if I could give you $100 million. You want that? $100 million. Or you could make $5 million yourself. Which would you choose? Now take a second to think about that and then answer it in your mind and then listen and join us for the ride as we explore that a little bit further. So Tracey and Cheri, I love it. Cheri, may I ask where you're from?
I'm originally from Oakland, California.
Okay. How about you, Tracey?
Originally Asbury Park, New Jersey, home of Danny DeVito, Bruce Springsteen, Wendy Williams, and Tracey Syphax.
Wendy Williams and Tracey. I like how you add my birthday is the same as Denzel Washington. So his birthday is the same as mine, is what I should say.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. I'm really excited to hear more about this story.
You want to start? I'll let her get started.
So my name is Cheri Syphax. This is my husband, Tracey. We met actually during the pandemic and got married a year after the date that we met online. So I always tell people it's all about mindset. You think that things can happen, you create this life and it can come true. My husband, I come from a background of medical device sales. So I'm an executive and have been for many, many years, a sales executive. My husband, on the other hand, has had a different experience in his journey to serial entrepreneurship. So I'll let him talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Sure. So basically my story, I'm the better half of the Syphax duel. So I like to just say, just as an entrepreneur, 30 years now, serial entrepreneur, have built some companies from the ground up. It's been a journey. It's been a journey. I was just having a conversation with my son last week, Beez, and telling him, he would say, one of the things you mentioned is that you had to work 30 years signing both sides of your check, and which is not an easy thing to do and take care of family and provide for your family and everything else. So it's been a 30-year entrepreneurial journey. It's something that I wouldn't change for anything in the world. I've been blessed to have married a better half now, who has been my partner in crime now for the past couple of years as we made this recent acquisition. So it's been a journey. It's a journey that I've loved and love to just learn and just go on together.
My brother, you're 100% right. It is a journey. It is quite interesting to deal with. My oldest son, he was going off to college and he said, "Oh, Dad, I saw this sushi restaurant. Can we acquire it?" And I thought to myself, well, I don't really like restaurants that much, but did you want it? Like, you want it and it's going to be yours to handle and such? And he was like, "Oh yeah, girls love sushi." And I'm like, listen, man, that's not the reason to harass me by helping with this acquisition. But all right, guys, before we get into the full episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for supporting this channel. This channel means so much to me. You all mean so much to me because this information is the type of things that I wish that I knew when I was like 17 years old, right? We're talking about wealth creation strategies, not plays. Never talking about, hey, we could run this quick play to make some quick money. This is all about sustainable strategies that won't go anywhere. Whatever else you may be doing, this information will supplement it and help you take it to a whole nother level. So what I would love to ask each and every one of you is if you could like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, do all of that for me. It supports the channel, it helps us to grow, helps us to get this information out to more people so that we could change more lives. So thank you again for supporting. Make sure that whatever you see in here, whatever you learn in here, that you go and execute on it. And then drop a comment and let me know how it went out for you. Hopefully I'll even see you in the BBI where I teach how to acquire businesses and everything about entrepreneurship. Let's go.
That's a powerful conversation as a Black man having with his teenage Black son. Yes, we could just go and acquire this business. And he also knows about leverage buyouts and how we can structure deals to get it, even if you don't have $2 million to put down on it. And when we're structuring deals, even SBA is part of the structure, right? I don't use it as much anymore, but a lot of people could and should. If you go to the bank to acquire real estate, why can't you do that to acquire a business? It's the same thing, right? Actually, cash flows better in the business than it does in the real estate. But yeah, I love that you've done it for so long. That must have been, wow. Do you have any hair left? Because
I still got all of it. But God has definitely blessed me. He is not. I definitely don't look like what I've been through over 30 years. So
that's good. That's good, my brother. Well, I'm glad to hear it. But so, for those who don't know, tell them the big secret of what you've done recently. Why I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Well, and my husband is very, very humble. So he also wrote From the Block to the Boardroom, where he chronicles his life of 17 years on the streets, in prison, drug addicted, all that. So to be in business and to be successfully in business for 30 years, has not been an easy task. And to not be in business school or have, family that, had money to pass down and things like that. I think our story is very, very powerful. What we've been able to do since we've been together is that we bought Booker's Restaurant and Bar in West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. To your point, people do have challenges in the restaurant business. Now that we're in it, we definitely understand. My background is in business, and what I want to say, a lot of times restaurant tours, depending on what their backgrounds are, it's more in like presentation and what food tastes like and all those things. And my staff knows, like, if they're going to bring a new dish to me, I have to know how much it costs, what we're going to sell it for, how many do you think we're going to sell? And so I think what we've been able to understand in our acquisition is just bringing in some basic business skills and principles into an industry. So we always say we're not a restaurant business. We're a business that happens to sell food, but there's the business part that we have to make sure that we're managing. In addition to the restaurant itself, we also bought the bricks. So it's 2 commercial spaces, 2 full basements, and then 6 apartment units. So again, to your point about building businesses from the ground, we probably wouldn't have done it if it would require we build a business from the ground up. But it was a business that we had evaluated by not only our personal accountants, but the SBA accountants as well, to make sure that it was a thriving business. And then we brought our business acumen into it, and we're up 26% from last year. In addition to then owning the land, owning the building that the business is in. So it wasn't just the fact that it was a restaurant, it was the fact that it was a thriving business, but one that also we were able to acquire the real estate as well.
I can just add to that too. Also, one that we felt had great potential for opportunity and growth. Booker's Restaurant is located in West Philadelphia, University City. We right next door to UPenn, Drexel, some of the best colleges, Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania. So we're in a community where the opportunity for growth in the restaurant business, catering, takeout is definitely, the potential is definitely there. So we'd have to look at all that before we made the decision to buy.
I love that. And one of the things is that people don't realize, and Cheri, I think you kind of alluded to it a bit,
But people don't realize, like, okay, you get to see the history of the business. You get to see the financials. You get to see the playbook of the business. And then you come in, they were doing okay. Obviously, if you're interested in it, they were doing okay. But, maybe they don't know about social media. Maybe they don't know about, funnels. Maybe they don't know about a couple of quick low-hanging fruit that you could do to instantly increase revenue and productivity. So you did that. You already said you're up 26% year over year, or
yeah.
When exactly was that acquisition?
March 2nd
of 2022 or
2023. So this year,
we're 9 months into this year.
We're 9 months into.
Wow, and up 26% already. I thought it was of the beginning of 2022. I was like, man, y'all are doing great, but even greater. I love it. But so how does that feel, in comparison to the businesses that you started, especially Tracey, right? How does it feel now walking into cash flow, walking into that playbook, and then being able to just, maintain while still low-hanging fruit, increasing revenue? How does that feel in comparison?
Well, one of my businesses, it took me, 20 before we closed the doors in 2012. It took me 22 years to build a business from zero to $1.8 million in the roofing industry. And if anybody doesn't know the roofing industry, one of the most treacherous, cutthroat, do your roof, don't show up, won't come back, take your deposit, never see you again type of industries out there. And we were able to be successful over 22 years because we understood the customer's pain around customer service in the industry where you could find roofers a dime a dozen. So just that experience of learning that was so valuable as I began to look at the restaurant industry and inquiring bookers, which had a lot of the built-in things built in already, good customer service, great food, great ambiance. So all those things were already built into this already. But to your point, how do we look outside of that space? How do we look outside that structure and look at the other areas around here that can definitely add to that 26%? We were able to do that through social media and through our relationships with the university.
I love it. And, there's many ways to acquire a business, because I have a member of my community who acquired a distressed business. And when he did it, I was like, well, why'd you do that? I don't promote that at all. And he was like, well, it came with, like, I don't remember how much, but say 50 acres of land or something, and a solar farm on it. And he was like, he wanted that asset, even though the business was distressed, he wanted that asset so that to your both of your points earlier, it's like, okay, you got two asset classes in your acquisition. You not only did you get a cash flowing existing business, but you also got the real estate with it. And I think that's
flowing. And then we also got a liquor license. So if there's something we ever need to do, we have a liquor license. So, we looked at all those avenues of, what our planning need to be, succession planning in the event that we needed to do that, what that could look like.
I love it. And Tracey, you kind of mentioned it too, is that you could have, so in choosing this, well, actually, no, let me form it as a question, right? What made you choose specifically the restaurant industry to go into for that acquisition? Because you could have chosen so many others.
Choice. It wasn't a choice. We didn't choose. We actually didn't choose to go into the restaurant business. Opportunity existed, and opportunity presented itself to two entrepreneurial mindsets who basically can look at a deal and know whether it's a good deal or not. And once we looked under the hood of this restaurant, we realized that it was a gold mine. It was a gold mine. It was simply sales were shooting through the roof right after the pandemic. So as we were closing in on this deal here, her sales was continuing to go up as we were even closing in on the deal. So we knew it was a great acquisition. I've never been in the restaurant business, even though I bartended when I was 17 years old. I talk about it in my book. Ain't had no business in no bar, doing all the wrong things. I've never owned a restaurant. Cherie's never owned a restaurant. But from a business standpoint, we felt it was a great opportunity. So it was not our choice. We could have been in the dry cleaning business. And it was a great opportunity if it made sense.
And I think, it kind of goes back, and this isn't the subject, but about people and relationships in business, because you do have to be aligned with like how you want to live life, what your goals are, what are the things that you want to try to accomplish? Tracey wanted to get out of roofing and construction business. So his last labor of love was building our home. But we had to talk about like, okay, so what does that look like? Again, I'm a medical device sales, a regional director. So, I could hold things down until we kind of figured that out. But then this opportunity presented itself. And so, like he said, from his entrepreneurial perspective, and then just from my business perspective, is like, this makes sense. And it aligns with where we ultimately, want to go. So, you have to have a really strong partnership and alignment in your partnership, whether that's through marriage or through business partners, because we're both, but to make sure that you both want to move in the same direction and you want to do it in a similar way.
I love that. And I always like to say, know your why you're doing what you do, right? And if your why changes over time, which it can, but if you don't push through, your why could have been a lie. You could have been saying, yeah, I'm doing it because I want to make money. There was a lot of times that I thought that was my why. I make money because I'm broke, so I need to make money. But then I realized that my why was more about I wanted my time back. I wanted a little bit of freedom. I told you when I worked at Microsoft, and one of the things that made me leave was I was supposed to travel, because I traveled every week for years. I was supposed to travel 1 week, and the client wasn't going to be there. So I told, management that, hey, client's not going to be there. The site's going to be closed. If I traveled, I'd be in the hotel just sitting there by myself. So I'm just going to stay this week, especially since my son has a basketball tournament. And they were like, well, we'd rather you still go over there. I was like, what? Still go over there to sit down? So that was like I got to beg you for time to spend with my son? Like, no, it just didn't make sense to me. So my why, I realized my why was I need to be able to, I can't buy, even with my business acquisitions, I don't want to buy myself a job. Nothing wrong with that for some people, right? Some people get passionate. They want to acquire something, they're going to work in it. But I want to acquire something that has enough cash flow that I can hire people in so I don't have to work in it fully myself. I'll be the strategic person on the top to help the growth, but I need someone else or multiple people in handling the day-to-day overall, right? What would you say was your true why behind everything, right? So I know you touched on it now, but what was your why that keeps you going right now?
I think for me, I don't know if we sat down and really talked about that part. We knew collectively we wanted to build, we want to have generational wealth. We wanted to build legacy. Community is really, really important to both of us. So those things are extremely important. But you just touched on a point. So before the pandemic, I managed half of the country for my job. So to your point, traveling weekly, meeting with hospitals, surgeons, things like that to use our products, training my teams. Post-pandemic, you recognize you don't have to do all that and you can still be impactful and effective. And even though I was leading the country, there's still this, Cheri, you need to travel more, you need to travel more, you need to travel more. And now I'm married. And, now, my husband has other parts of the business that I help him manage. So I need to be there to, whether it's network in the evening with him or what have you. So my why actually started shifting, but we were already in the acquisition process. And then post-acquisition, they were restructuring an opportunity for me to take a package. And I was able to do that because now it made more sense for me to be here, to your point, buying my time back. I still have to manage the strategic direction of the businesses, but I can do it in such a different way that does not require, I'm on a plane every week, to your point, in a hotel if they cancel or something happens or whatever. And so for me, it has enhanced the way I think we're able to be married and then be partners as well.
And I think to your point, when we talk about, having folks where that we're not coming into this restaurant cooking a meal, we're not busting too many dishes. So when we acquired the restaurant, we acquired 58 employees. We have managers, we have 9 cooks, we have a tremendous team. We have a tremendous team that was already in place. We have enhanced that and added on to that. But, we managed, and we're getting to the point, even after 9 months of learning the restaurant business and all that entails and all the dead bodies that you find out. We've been able to now look at it from that high level point of view now, where we're putting the right managers in the right places, back of the house, front of the house, all those areas to make sure that we're looking at it from a high level point of view and working with those who make this business operate on a daily basis. We're open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We're never closed. So to have a business, and we're not here all the time. So to have a business that can function 7 days a week, and you can check out the reviews on Google.
Oh, I know. I already know.
This is off the chain. Folks love the vibe. Folks love the food. Folks love the service. So, just working with a great team has been just been a great experience also. Well
said. That is one of the most important aspects that people don't realize in an acquisition, the human aspect of it, right? Yeah. It's so funny to me how employees often, when I take over a company, they're like, oh my God, am I going to be fired? Oh my goodness. I'm like, no, are you crazy? You're the reason I want the business. Y'all are doing great. Can I give you a raise?
Yes. We did that. We evaluated people. We, increased pay. And we are always very humbled by what our staff is able to do, very appreciative of what they do, and very grateful that they stayed with us through the transition because they could have left. We had, one or two people, but overall the 58 people, we kept most people. We were able to bring on a couple other people, and it's been really, we can't do what we do without them. So they're the lifeblood of our business. They're customer facing, they're serving our customers, they're cooking for our customers, they're cleaning for our customers. And so, we are never, ego doesn't play a part in this. It's all about the team and how we collectively bring bookers to the community.
Nice. Now, would you say that, well, first of all, while you were doing due diligence, did you identify key employees in the business that maybe they were already running operations anyway themselves, and now with the seller gone, this person could be elevated to be a COO or operations manager, and they continue running it while you're just giving that oversight? Did that happen as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, several people became like kitchen managers or operational people or bar managers and things like that. So we definitely elevated within. And it's been fun for me, again, with my business background. I have an undergrad in business. I have a graduate degree in business. And so teaching them the number side of the business, they're used to like, hey, this drink tastes like this, or, we have to get to the customer in so many seconds and things like that. The more things that you just have to execute to run a restaurant, but the business, the part of the restaurant is the most important part. And being able to teach them those things and have their eyes open. It's like, this is our top seller. We need this % in alcohol sales, because if this % in alcohol sales impacts our revenue in this way, being able to have those conversations where they've never had them before has been eye-opening. And they are now like, our leads are saying, we want to be managers. And, managers like, I'm learning stuff I didn't know before. And so, for me, and both Tracey and I feel like this, he does a lot of work in reentry and with formerly impacted people. And so he's kind of always had his purpose. And now I feel like between the stuff I do with women on relationships and mindset, now I feel like I'm in my passion work of really leaving a mark on people, that is something that's tangible that they can take with them to the next place once they leave me.
Oh, I love that.
And just to add to that, and we, one thing about, we believe in elevating our employees. Not just here at Booker's, wherever you want to go. If your focus is to go, we have one of our lead bartenders. She wants to go back to school for criminal justice. We want to help our employees be the best employees and the best people, be the best person that they can be. And whether that's here at Booker's or somewhere else, we make sure that they understand that and know that we work towards that each and every day.
There we go. I love hearing things like that, because that focus on your employees and the focus on your customers, that it's a winning recipe. Everything else, there's going to be all types of fluctuations and things to deal with. But if you always are focused on serving your people, the ones that work with the team and the ones that also are your patrons, you can't go wrong. The most amazing thing that I've seen, all right, speaking from the Black community, I think that's how I heard of you guys originally too. It was like, a couple buys famous restaurant, blah blah blah, and I thought that was amazing. But I started thinking to myself, some of the businesses that we've been acquiring and just looking at, even if we didn't, get to close on it, some of them are 50, 60, 80. The oldest one was 103 years old. And to me, it was like, wow, we're acquiring businesses that Black people couldn't even walk into 50 years. It's an amazing thing to see. And, kudos to you guys again for taking that leap overall. But I think we got to jump into pop right now, and then we continue the conversation, because we got to frame this for everybody, right? We're talking about the story, how you got to it, but we got to talk about the pros specifically of the restaurant acquisition industry, the opportunities that either exist now or are coming up, why you really may want to consider doing it too. But most importantly, the problems, right? What are the things that you face so far, especially in transition? A lot of times people don't think about that. They think about, oh yeah, I'm going to have this business, it's going to be great. But then first few days, it's like when you have a baby, and that first 90 days or so, the first 3 months, is like you don't get no sleep. The first few, that period of transition can be rough at times. So let's start with the pros. What would you say are the pros of acquiring in the restaurant industry?
I think one of the pros of acquiring bookers is allow us to elevate our lifestyle. It has allowed us to, and as Cheri said, we do a lot of work with our employees. We try to make sure that our employees, as I stated before, are elevated, are learning, are growing, and things like that. So I think for me, coming from a background, as Cheri said, I spent my 30-year career, even as a serial entrepreneur, with someone who has specifically raised awareness in mass incarceration, criminal justice reform, and stuff like that. So for me to acquire a business with 58 employees, where I get an opportunity to work with individuals and help them elevate and help them grow, for me, for my career, I think that's been a pro for me.
Yeah, and I would say something similar, because we're in West Philadelphia, Southwest, and it's predominantly, Black. It's gentrifying, but it is a community where, a good portion of our population and clientele are Black. And when we have people come in and are literally emotional that Black people are in a Black restaurant in a Black neighborhood, and it's an elevated experience. It's not, a grab and go, which I don't know, no harm with those either, but it's an actual elevated experience. We have linens, we have craft cocktails, we have fresh flowers, we have bussers and servers, and you are really treated well. And so I know some people save their money to come and spend their birthday with us or a date night with us, and that just really, I'm so proud that we're able to do that in our community and for our community. And if you know anything about Philadelphia, a lot of the neighborhoods are far from the major hub of the center city. And so a lot of people have to go into the city, pay heavy parking and all that stuff. And this way they can be close to home and then be served by people that look like them. And they see other people that look like them, and our population and our staff is also, diverse, which is great. And so I love that, and being adjacent to so many people that we can mentor. We've hired people that we mentor. We have people that are formerly incarcerated that work for us. So for them to see Tracey's example and to see us together, I think is really powerful.
I love that. I love that, serving the people again. And there's a few statistics about Black-owned businesses and not having succession plans, and then leaving the Black community through acquisition if they are able to sell, and being able to, as a Black couple, to be able to take over a business and keep it within the community overall, that just keeps elevating. It just keeps making it even more powerful. So I love it, and that's just more pros. But what about opportunities then? Things that are happening now, why what also led you down this road too?
Yeah, let me just go back to the whole thing of looking under the hood at Booker's and looking at what was been going on here for the past 6 years, and looking at the area that we located in University City, and recognizing those opportunities. And from a social media standpoint, I have over 40,000 followers on all social media outlets. our ability over the past couple of years, our wedding was highlighted in the New York Times. So it wasn't just the fact that we bought the $3.3 million restaurant. Our wedding was a big deal. People showcased that also. So recognizing, as far as our social media presence, that we had a great opportunity and bookers to take bookers to a whole nother level, whether it's through social media, whether it's through making contacts with the universities in the neighborhood or the hospitals in the neighborhood. So I think those were the opportunities that I seen that were there for growth.
And for me, my goal has a couple of things. One, to Tracey's point, is really leveraging relationships. So I've been in Philadelphia for 10 years, moved from the West Coast, been integrated, but now, like we have a political fundraiser tomorrow by one of our state reps. Our state reps come in for business lunches, our council people, our new mayor, things like that. So being able to kind of leverage those opportunities and those relationships, as well as looking at what does expansion look like? Does that look like, a cloud kitchen for a while to see if we can increase takeout and catering and things like that, so that our home base stays true to what it is, but we expand and not be disruptive in that? Or does it look like just acquiring a new space in another neighborhood? So opportunities to grow and expand as well as we continue to leverage all those other points, whether it's, the hospitals, the universities, and things like that.
I love that. And I would suggest, evaluating between vertical and horizontal integration, because you mentioned a couple of things that you need or use or as part of your experience. So let's say linens, right? Imagine if you found a commercial laundromat that's doing, a couple $1 million, and they also rent out the linens to the restaurants and hospitals and et cetera, et cetera. Now you can say, all right, well, we're gonna get our linens from the company that we just acquired, and now there's that integration.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to expand.
Another opportunity, I think, for us, we looked for investors to acquire the business, just because we wanted to make sure that, one, I had this whole fantasy of like all Black people buy this Black business in this Black neighborhood, but it was a fantasy.
We had the picture, the magazine cover, we had the whole.
I know exactly what you mean.
Doing it in West Philly.
But when we actually went out to people that we felt, the investment ask was kind of within, some reach of reality for them, we did not get, the support that we would have hoped we would have. The fortunate thing is we always knew we could do it without investors. But what it did, and I would say we had one investor, thank you so much. But what it did with Tracey and I, as we thought about it, and as I was talking about those relationships, is we've got to expand our network. We got to keep expanding our network, because a lot of times, what we've done, we're middle class, I would consider, and we get that comfortable middle class where we got our home and we got our 401k and we got those things, and then we're risk adverse. So investing in something becomes challenging because we're risk adverse. So we are trying to be in rooms where people are not risk adverse and they are open and understanding. I mean, we've had people tell us, can you guarantee us, like on calls with our accountant going over the numbers, can you guarantee us, like, you're like, not in any real investment. That's what investment's about. We'll guarantee your initial investment, but yeah, just expanding our network to be where other people are like-minded and thinking about us and open to taking risks, because that's another way that we'll expand without using all of our capital to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's extremely important. Networking in general, but also, it's funny when you walk into certain rooms, and, a lot of people always say, oh, so what do you do? And when you say, well, I acquire businesses, or I've acquired these businesses and blah, 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 that changes the conversation, right? So the key is to walk into better rooms and have those, because it happens on all levels. It doesn't matter. You walk into a room full of, 9-figure earners and you tell them that you acquire a business and that's what you do. You focus on acquisitions. Oh yeah, that changes it completely, no matter what. So yeah, I like that. Now we got to go to the most important aspect of it, problems. Because there's tons of pros and opportunities. We could talk about that all day. and on a Sunday. But when it comes to the problems, what are some of the major issues that you've seen so far with acquiring a business in general, much less in the restaurant industry?
I'll let her handle that.
I wish everybody could see the smiles on your faces. Like, oh,
I don't believe in problems. I believe those problems are lessons. I think you gave a prime example of us not being able to acquire the investors that we wanted to acquire bookers. But how do we solve that problem? How do we look at that not as a problem, but as a lesson? And the lesson learned is that, as Cheri said, we have to start getting into other rooms where we can find those investors. So, I mean, I've faced a lot of problems over 30 years. The market crash, cancer, divorce. I'll let my baby handle the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think, restaurant specific or business specific, you're managing 50 some odd people, 50 some odd personalities, 50 some odd, things like that. So, you're managing a lot of different emotions and things. She looked at me like this, sir, literally, like we literally have those conversations. And so trying to split the time between managing people and then moving your business forward. There's how do you balance that? Because we always want our staff to know that we're here and they can come to us, but we also have to have a time limit to that because we can't spend all our time on that. We have to expand our business. So that's probably one problem. Another problem is when you acquire a business, there's only so much the numbers tell you until you get in it. Yeah. And getting in it is just different. And you just always have to be understanding and aware that, the seller is going to tell you a certain amount of truth to get you interested, but a certain amount of truth to make sure that it looks better than maybe what it actually is. Not in any extreme way, but just things just are different when you actually are in it versus when you're so I wouldn't negotiate any deals prior to like, hey, I need to be in this business for 90 days before I negotiate a repayment plan, anything, because I need to really know and understand, what those things are. And then, your expenses, managing your expenses, and getting your arms around those. In the restaurant business, there's so many moving parts, and a lot of businesses, but there's so many moving parts. So we're month 9, I think month 7, I really got our arms around it. And I mean, we're good. I mean, our payroll is down and the way we, order our, inventory and things like that are down, but it takes a minute. So have some capital on the front end to be able to pay for some of those mistakes that you're going to make, because you're going to make some.
So I'd advise people, this is something that's a very important aspect of acquisitions. I would say that you should never neglect the discussion about working capital, right? So you're going in, here's the price for the business, but you should negotiate an aspect of working capital in, whether the seller leaves it in the form of accounts receivables, or you negotiate a portion of the cash that they'd be taking out to remain in. You could even, if this was the only way to get it done, you could even say, well, how about you leave some of that cash in, but we'll give you a note to pay you over time as well, because, we're already in this partnership and such. Yeah. Whatever it is, focus on working capital, because the day you take it over, you got to pay payroll maybe that week, if not next week. So
we were able to negotiate, all of that, but, just not knowing what to expect. So just know that is definitely super important. And then, last but not least, you're not going to please everyone. So sometimes, customers say stuff bad or whatever, but you have to recognize that, our customers are our lifeline. So we need them. So, our manager always talks about, we want to take them to Disneyland. And sometimes we don't get them there, but we try our hardest every single day to do that.
There you go.
We get them down Florida, though, at least.
There you go. We get them at least.
It is serious to Cheri's point, Beez. We do. We can serve anywhere between 14 to 1,600 customers per week here at Booker. And if you look at our reviews, there's a small number of folks that may have a bad experience. And, and one thing about it is not that you got to have thick skin, but you got to recognize that we're working with human beings. We're selling to other human beings. And somewhere down the line, there's going to be a hiccup and a flaw. But we try our best each and every day when we open those doors at 10 o'clock to serve our customers, to please our customers to the best of our ability. And sometimes we fall short, but we just make sure that we make sure we don't let that bother us.
There you go.
Jackets on. Metal.
but to you guys' point, business in general is just, ups and downs. There's challenges. I told a story recently. My sister went through some challenges recently. And then when I was speaking to her, I was like, well, life gets worse. And she expected that I was going to say life gets better. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, life gets worse. So, she's my younger sister. I was like, as you get older, more and more challenges come, and that's just life. But you got to, I won't say thick skin either, but you got to learn how to just deal with them punches and keep rolling, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people ask me, well, what's the biggest risk if you take over a business? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's say you took over a business and then, I don't know, a global pandemic hit and everything shut down. But guess what? That would have happened with the business you built too, mm-hmm. or the business you took over. So mm-hmm. I'd rather that head start. And then that takes us back to the beginning when mm-hmm. I posed the question for the audience. I said, if I could give you 100 million or you could earn 5 million yourself, which would you choose? I hope everybody's honest with what they chose at that time. And now I want you to answer it again, what you would choose at this time. Because think about it. We have so much. Well, here's some statistics for you. Less than 5% of businesses make it to 7 figures in revenue. More than 80% of businesses that start up are gone in 5 years. So why wouldn't I try to acquire a business that's older than 5 years and already made it to 7 figures in revenue? Why wouldn't I take that head start instead of having to struggle through that dark period of that 5 years, which statistically says most people won't get through, right? So you guys are proving that, you've done it all too. You've done it from the startup side. You've done it from the corporate America side. You've now also done it from the acquisition side. What are your thoughts compared to those three? Which I hope you're going to say what I would say, but compared to those three, which one makes more sense now that you've experienced them all?
Oh, I'll do the acquisition.
Every day. All day.
All day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's mess it up. If you got past that 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There we go. I love it.
Yeah. But gives you a head start, a place to start, something to see, a roadmap of you can be like, oh, that worked, but we're going to go this way because we think that will work even better. Mm-hmm. It's given us a platform. We've been on Bloomberg. We're with you. To talk about, business acquisitions, restaurant industry specific, doing it as a married couple, just so many things. So yeah, go for the business acquisition.
So awesome. I'm so happy, so proud of you guys of what you're doing. You're lighting the light for our community to see more people like us doing it. I also have a challenge that's going on right now, and I'm going to issue that challenge to you guys as well. It's not like TikTok Tide Pod challenge or nothing like that. This challenge is called the $1 Trillion Table Challenge. Right? The $1 Trillion Table Challenge. By the end of this decade, I want to sit in a room at a table, especially with people that look like us, and we have $1 trillion AUM, assets under management. Now people hear that number and they get crazy and they're scared, like, $1 trillion, you crazy? That can't happen. Listen, we're not talking $1 trillion cash in our pocket. I'm talking about business portfolios, real estate portfolios, all of these assets that we manage, we control, that total, all of us in the room can equate to that $1 trillion challenge. Will you guys be at that table with us?
Absolutely.
Busting it wide open.
There we go.
We'll bring dinner.
Oh, it will be cake. Oh my God. Oh, this is awesome. I love it. You guys are amazing. Such an amazing people, great couple as well. And, definitely a shining light in our community. I'll tell the people where they can, they know where they can find you for food, but tell them how best to reach out to you overall.
You can run it.
Yeah, on Instagram, we are at Justphax, like you have JUSTPHAX, to play on our last name. Tracey and Cheri Syphax, SYPHAX. We are front and center. You can get access to us. Booker's is at 5021 Baltimore Avenue in Philadelphia. We also have a newsletter at www.justthefacts.com. So many ways to get into our universe, for sure.
make sure you trademark that and push that. I love that. Just facts. We giving the facts, but play on the name. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, we'll definitely put that in the description for everybody as well, so that they can reach out to you. Thank you again for coming on Entrepreneurship Exposed and helping us to expose the restaurant acquisition space overall. Y'all already know in the audience, this conversation was amazing, but make sure that you are subscribed, whether it's on podcast, whether it's on YouTube and you want to watch the video. Make sure you have the notification bell turned on, everything, so you don't miss conversations like this with amazing people like the Syphaxes.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, thank you again both for being on here. I appreciate it. I look forward to doing some business with y'all, or at least coming to eat some food soon. I'm in Florida, but I'm gonna come up there once it's not as cold. And I'll get some. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So nice meeting you. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Yes. It's a pleasure. All right, everybody. I'll see you all on the next episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed.